Hi Chip, how you doing? Bullmoose, Bob, hope you're both doing well, all three of you rather. I've not had such a productive good morning, Yusuf. How you doing? No pipers yet? Really? Oh my gosh. What does the tracking say now? Well, hello there. Pipe monkey. Got it. Pipe monkey. Monkey. Got it. What are you doing up this time of night, Gary? Bartek, how you doing? Thank you very much again for the email, Bartek. Really, really nice. Happy to hear that. Bartek took delivery of a couple of pipes, commissions, and he sent me some pictures of him smoking them. And as I said to him in an email, it really, really warms my heart. It's kind of almost like a reward when you have a customer send you a picture. It doesn't have to be a picture, but it's a message, just to say that they're enjoying the pipe, they've got the pipe, even if it's a feedback which is kind of constructive criticism. Something, it's just nice to get that little bit of interaction, a bit of that sort of to and fro, to know that your customer's got it, happy, and it just sort of kind of closes the circle. You worked hard. I'll tell you something as well. When people commission a pipe, it's often not easy because so for some people it's the first time they've ever commissioned a pipe, and for some people they may never commission another one. And so they want to get it right as well. So not just me, hey Robert, they want to get it right. They want to make sure that when they're commissioning the pipe, that they give over their idea for a pipe accurately, so that the carver can actually produce a pipe which they will be happy with. And that can be nerve-wracking, so you do your best to try and make that process as easy as possible. But sometimes that can be challenging for the commissioner as well. Check out the beard. So a lot of times I'll get a customer who will be very easygoing, and they'll give me a very vague idea of what they're looking for. So they'll say, make me a billiard or a bent billiard. I'd like a bit of silver on it, or I'd like a bit of this, or I'd like a bit of that, and leave the rest of it to me. And they'll say, just put your flair into it. I just want it to be an LCS pipe, so it should have your stamp on it. And that is obviously, most times that's the easiest commission to do, because they're allowing you artistic license on the pipe. And the thing is that, sometimes when you make a pipe without it being commissioned, you'll notice that with pipe carvers that they will be much more expressive in a pipe which is not commissioned, because they've got a free hand, excuse the pun. They can really go to any length that they want to make it really fancy, and maybe they'll do interesting carvings and sort of different kind of shaping and sort of just things to make it a little bit special. When you get commissions, often they look quite regular and quite plain, and that's because you're doing your best to comply with the wishes of the commissioner. And you don't want to go too outlandish, because you might risk them saying, I don't really like that pipe. And the last thing that you want is that a commissioner takes the pipe because they feel obliged, because they've commissioned the pipe, but in their hearts of hearts they don't really like the pipe. And that's the worst situation, because they might not even tell you about that, and you might only find out afterwards when they put it up for sale. So kudos to them for paying for it, because they've ordered it and they feel that they're obliged to pay for it. But that's why for me it's really, really important to try and fulfill the wishes of the commissioner. So you'll find oftentimes, not just with me but with many, many pipe makers, is that they will not push the boat out when it comes to doing a commissioned pipe. They'll be fairly regular, because they just don't want the risk. So, hey Sam. So, so when you get feedback from a customer, it's really very heartwarming, that that they've actually they've done a good job by describing the pipe that they want, and you've done a good job by providing the pipe that they wanted. So sometimes when you exceed their expectations, that's obviously even better. Oh, excellent, Andrew. I'm really happy to hear it. Hopefully you'll do a video, or maybe you have already. I don't know. I think I saw the did you do a video when you came back home? I think you did. Yeah, I'm pleased that you took that one, Andrew, and not the other one. Although the other one would have been a perfectly nice pipe, but that one. So the two pipes that you saw, obviously the panelled pipe looked more interesting, and it looked like a little bit more of a piece. But in reality, when it comes to smoking pipes, I knew that one would suit you better. So I was pleased that you took it. I'm working on a pipe at the moment which has almost got the better of me. It's a commissioned pipe. This is the pipe. But it's been a bit of a journey. I mean, I haven't had much of a productive week this week in terms of pipe making because I've had quite a few photographic jobs. I had another one tonight, I had one Thursday night, I had one Wednesday night. So although I've made some pipes, but so I've been trying to finish this pipe. So originally this was supposed to be a church warden. Well, not a full church warden, like a demi warden, so like a half length church warden. So so I'm using that micarta material, which I've used before. So that's this material here, which is very cool, very interesting. So that's in the band there, you can see that there. Now this one, I like the way it kind of curves. I positioned it so that's bang in the middle of the shank, that sort of curve effect. So originally it was going to be the same as what I'd done previously, that purple pearlescent material. So this was on the way to becoming a stem. It had the silver band on it just over there. You can see where the notch is for the silver band. But I don't do church wardens that often, but I actually bought a new drill bit, a longer drill bit than what I usually use, because I wanted to be able to make longer stems. So it was the first time I used it, and I obviously hadn't had enough experience with it, and because it's longer, there's a lot more flex in the drill bit. And essentially what happened is that when I was drilling it, it went a lot higher up in the block than I realized, and when I was sanding it through and shaping it, I went right through it. So that was very frustrating. It was also my last rod, so I couldn't make another one unless the customer would wait till I got more in. So I offered the customer to do one in this multicolored ebonite. So here again, there's the silver band. I had to, each time I had to heat it up to remove it. And this one was almost finished. And as I was drilling out the draft hole, which had already been drilled, but I was enlarging it, it exploded. So that's this one. So this one you can see was already very advanced. I'd already done the slot, most of the slot, and this was already pretty much shaped, as you can see. And it was going to be a very nice sort of wave, LCS wave stem with this little contour here and the silver band over there. So that was, there you go, Murphy. So that was stem number 2. Anyway, so this time, stem number 3, silver band's on. Hopefully, third time lucky. These things happen, these things happen to pipe makers. I'm not the only one. And you learn with each time that you try something different. So essentially, with this one, the reason why it exploded was because I went back to it after it had already been drilled. I went to re-drill it because the reason why the other one did that was because it was longer and therefore it had more flex in it. So I didn't want to do the same mistake with this one. So I first drilled it with a previous drill that I've been using all the time for my demi wardens. It's a little bit shorter, and the customer was quite happy for it to be a bit shorter. So I did that, and I thought before I shape it, it was still on the, no, sorry. So I went back to it. It was already most of the shaping already done, and I thought it's already drilled. So if I drill it again, you know, using my hand drill, and just enlarge it, because the new longer bit that I've got is slightly wider. It would have meant a nicer open, more open draw. Anyway, tried to drill it and it just shattered. So there we go. So that's something which you learn from. You know, you learn from all of these things. A chapel was, I don't know. Good one. So in any event, this one, I've drilled it, and it's shorter. As I say, the customer doesn't want such a full church warden, so this is much shorter, and it should be fine, all being well. The drilling's done. And it's nice and smooth. Basically, when I drill stem, I drill it from that end, and this end I then drill afterwards, and then I have to meet it. If when I drill this end it meets very easily and within, you know, a short amount that it's supposed to meet, because when I drill the draft hole, I drill it up to about that point there, and then I drill it from this side with another small bit, and then from there I cut the slot from that hole. So when I drill from this side, if by the time I've put the drill bit in about that much I could feel it give, then I know it's absolutely spot on. And to be honest, with both of these, I knew I had to go a long way until it met the draft hole, so I knew something was off. But I still was hoping that it would be okay. But because when you're doing the V slot, you can sort of fix that problem where when it sort of meets further down, you can just do a longer V slot and you're fine. But you can't change the fact that it's drilled very, very high up and then you sand through it. There's not much you can do about that. Anyway, cut a long story short, this one should be okay. Should be third time lucky. It's just frustrating. It's, you know, you go to school every day when you make a pipe, and that was a schooling day for me. So what's up, you guys? Hey Phil, what's everybody smoking? The only thing I've had to smoke tonight was one of those mini cigarillos on the way down to my job. I haven't smoked since, and those are only like a 3-4 minute smoke. So I took out this evening this Flor de Cano, the single cigar I bought from GQ Tobaccos. So I was going to do a video of this, but I thought, forget it, I'm just going to smoke it, and if I really like it, I'll buy another one and do a video of that one. And hopefully it'll also be good. It's not usually what I do. I usually prefer to do a video of the first smoke of a tobacco or a cigar. But I mean, I could just smoke a small Monte Cristo or a New World cigar. But London Fog. Smoking a Bob's Old Colony with Star of the East. Hey Paul, welcome aboard. Star of the East is a very nice tobacco. London Fog for Gary. What else are you guys smoking? Simon, are you still enjoying the old order? I've been trying to get one of those things for a while now. Well, you ain't having that one, sorry. I'm still enjoying it. I smoke it from time to time. I do find that it gives me quite a bit of nicotine. I haven't actually jarred it. I keep saying that I will, but I haven't. I've had maybe 4 flakes out of it, possibly. maybe 3. No, I'll tell you why, because each one of these is a flake, and I usually have like a half or 3/4 at a go. So what have we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 flakes left. I've got to say, this really smells like aged birdie flake. Solani's. It's got a much more robust, rounder, sort of molasses kind of aroma. Much more so. It's a completely different aroma to the modern Orley Golden Sliced. For me, it's a different tobacco. It really is. The two are not really the same thing. It's almost like a block of butter, isn't it? Well, it's dark anyway, Gary, because it's old. This is from around the turn of the century. So any Orlick of that age will be quite dark. It was probably a lot lighter when it was new. But it's just very different when I compare it to, this is probably from 2019, something like that, something like that. It's just, this has got such a much more of a acidic, tarty, kind of citrusy, tarty aroma, and it's just lovely stuff. This is what I've got left of my current batch of London Fog. So I will soon be making another batch with one of these tins of Virginia Woods, one of them which I got from Andrew. Winslow Harlequin in a small 626. Oh right, cool. He's smoking the LCS. You were able to pick up an Orley Golden Sliced tin from 2020. Nice. That's about perfect to my taste anyway, Murphy. It depends what you like, but I find that, and I've said this many times, I prefer Orley Golden Sliced, the modern Orley Golden Sliced, with 2 or 3 years age, no more. I prefer that. Brand new I also don't want, but 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years. And then after that, it changes, it loses something. When you go to a 2016 or a 2015, 2016, 17, to me it loses a little bit. I think I would say between 2.5 years and maybe 6 years for me is a sweet spot with Orley Golden Sliced. You took my advice from last Saturday. What was that? I don't remember. PG2112, is that the one with the tortoiseshell stamp? I don't know what that is. Who are you talking to? Oh, the age defined. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I mean, try it and see. I mean, if you've had different dates, you can make a comparison. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I keep a rotation on some tobaccos. I have, obviously, I've got a variety of ages of Orley Golden Sliced. I've got Boswell's Northwoods, which my current batch that I'm smoking is from 2020. I think the next one after that is from maybe 21 or 22, and then I've got another batch which Andrew got for me, which is obviously from 2023, which is in Mylar bags. So I'm okay for now. I don't smoke Northwoods as much as I used to. And I find at the moment that if I'm smoking a pipe, it's going to be either Orley Golden Sliced or vanilla roll cake most of the time. Unless if I'm not, then I'm usually smoking a cigar these days. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm not sure if I'll get to finish it tomorrow or not. I'm working tomorrow evening as well, so I'll be out. But maybe during the day, we'll see. But what I've done here on this one is I've actually, using the chisel on the lathe, I've increased the diameter of the micarta here. So I've made it wider so that this can actually be countersunk. So it's a perfect joint. So you've got absolutely no gaps there because it's countersunk. And I'm probably going to turn it to make the slot there, so this red streak is in the middle, probably. Like that, something like that. Anyhow. So that will probably be another sort of LCS wave there, something like that. Anyway, we shall see. Do we know where my package is? Well, I sent you the link on Friday, so have a look. VRC. Oh, vanilla roll cake. Vanilla roll cake. Clue is in the title. And yes, I would agree with Bullnose. It's probably a bit like Heineken. Probably the best vanilla on the market. Is it Heineken or Budweiser? Which one was probably the best lager in the world? Was that Budweiser? That was how it used to be when I was a kid, how the adverts would go. That sounds like you're having fun, Mark. That's the main thing. I went out to the garage on either Thursday or Friday. Carlsberg, yes, you're right. And hey, we got a good draw. It's a Cuban. The last few cigars I've been trying something new. Usually I darken the foot of the cigar, and so that you don't sort of really burn it with a torch. I don't like to do that. So what I've noticed when I watch videos of people who are in the cigar business, a lot of them don't bother. They just light it as if it was a cigarette. It just takes longer, but they don't bother toasting the base, the foot of the cigar. So I've been doing that the past couple of cigars. It lights just fine. Gotta put the extractor on, I'm afraid. I can check, Yusuf. You know, it's going to come up with exactly the same thing as you're going to see, but I'm more than happy to do that. It says it's in transit. The item has left the Overseas International Logistics Centre and is on its way. More information will be available as it travels through the network. Tracking history. Item has left the Overseas International Processing Centre, JIMCA Air Priority Mail Letters, South Africa. So it's been released from customs in South Africa. So it should be on its way to you. Yeah, I mean, it's been in South Africa since the 23rd of January. And Wednesday, Thursday. It was released from customs on the 24th of January. On the 25th it left the International Processing Centre. So however long it takes to get to you from on Thursday, so maybe you'll get it tomorrow or the day after by the looks of it. Right, I'm sure Bartek's going to ask me the same thing, so let me check Bartek's one. Not Bartek, who was it that asked me before? Patrick. I mean, yours only just went, Patrick, so I don't know what you're chasing for. You won't be seeing yours for at least another 1 to 2 weeks. Yeah, it hasn't left this country yet. So I reckon you're going to wait still another 10 to 14 days. If you're lucky, you maybe get it a couple of days less than that. Paul says, post a video of his Miami rollers. Okay, cool. Do what you like. Big fan of Brazil rappers with Nicaragua long fill. Also, peppery smoke is a recent Don Lino, Africa. I'm not a big fan of peppery ones, I must be honest with you. I like a smoother, tangy, rich, with a bit of sweetness. Hey Oscar. I'm currently smoking a Cuban La Flor de Cano. This is a Robusto size. I think it's a 5x50. I haven't had these before, so I've been quite looking forward to smoking it. I thought I would do a video, but I thought, what the heck. It's been a long, hard week, so I figure I'm just going to enjoy this cigar. And if I really like it, I'll order another one. Alright Gary, have a good one. Thanks for joining. Good evening, John Flower. Tony Ozark, how you doing? McPhil VRC vanilla roll cake is really very, very good. If you like aromatics, then you're in for a treat. If you like aromatics but you also like a good tobacco-y flavour, something which doesn't feel overly sweetened or overly sort of too much humescence in there, too much alcohol, that's a fantastic tobacco, really is. Have I tried the Por La Llaga cigars? I have. The most recent one that I've had is the Galenas, which is a new release, also a Robusto sized cigar. I originally bought a single and it was absolutely delicious. When I did the video, it was delicious. That first one I had was fantastic flavors, really beautiful. So I promptly ordered a 10 box. They come in boxes of 10. And I made sure I ordered it before I released the video because they went out of stock everywhere. I don't know if they're back in stock now. Hey Devious. I'm going to have a look and see if, let me look at GQ, because he told me that he was going to order more. But let's have a look. No, so So the only one he's got is oh, he has got it. He's got some singles. Doesn't look like he's got any boxes. 24.39. Well, so buy some singles. He's got the UK regional edition, cheaper than anyone else, £76. I've seen it for over £100 in some places, but certainly around the 80-90 mark. So that's a good buy, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a cigar. Gone are those days. I just can't justify it. I mean, you know, not that I ever could, but look at the Cigars website, see what they've got. Poor Lernyaga. They've got the Galanis. Wow. I mean, that shows you the difference between GQ and other ones. They've got the Galenas for £36. That's the Cigars website. And GQ's got it for £24. It's almost 12. It's £35.99. It's actually £36. Nearly 11 or £12 difference. I don't know how GQ does it. Really not. Thank you, Rinky Dink. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth trying the VRC, because even if you're not into aromatics, which I never used to be. I mean, once I'd gone past my initial, when I first bought a pipe, I started this with a cherry aromatic. But once I got past that, I had hardly ever smoked aromatics for years, literally, since I started. But when I actually first started on vanilla flake, which James, he sent me a tin of that, and that was very nice. I enjoyed it a lot. But I had previous to that smoked the vanilla, the loose cut, which was also very nice. But until you put it this way, you do it in this order. Try the vanilla loose cut. If you don't like that, try the vanilla flake. And if you're not so hot on that, then try the vanilla roll cake, because you'll find it very hard to go in reverse. If you smoke the vanilla roll cake, it's so good that the vanilla flake and the vanilla loose cut will taste too aromaticy and too sort of artificial to you. The vanilla flake is actually also very, very good aromatic. So before having the roll cut, I preferred the flake, and now the loose cut for me is too much like an aromatic, standard aromatic. But the roll cake, if you get it, I think it's probably, in my experience, the best. Well, let me say this: one of the best aromatics out there. Never mind vanilla, just of any aromatic. It's one of the best. I think it's fantastic. I'm not a big aromatic smoker, so I can't say that I've smoked such a huge range and then said that's one of the best. But after the ones that I've had, that's certainly. It's a popular tobacco devious, so yeah, it does set out, but smoking pipes don't have it. Be surprised. I still haven't tried that Scottish mixture, no. You think it's the best blend? And I still have to try it, Perm. I haven't tried it. Yeah, Boswell Aromatics, Bull Moose, I would agree with you. They're also really good. Back in the day, when I was smoking sort of northwards a lot, so I did try also a lot of the Boswell Aromatics, and I found those to be very good. I really enjoyed the Cupcake. I enjoyed No Bite Delight. Those were kind of a couple of my favourites. But I must be honest, going back to them now, after things like Vanilla Roll Cake and or a golden sliced, Erinmore flake, these kind of things. I find it actually quite hard to go to Boswell Aromatics after that. But they are very good. I will say that they are very good. It is, well, vanilla McBaron loose vanilla loose cut, vanilla flake, and vanilla roll cake are all made by McBaron. Let me see if I can show you them all. See if I've got them all here. I'm not sure that I do. So I haven't got the loose cut here. No, I don't have the loose cut. So this is the vanilla flake, and it's going to have a few years on it. I don't know how old it is. That's the flake. So that's a nice looking flake. It's quite rich, it's quite dark in places. It's kind of a mixture of light and dark, but it's quite broken up. It's not in flake form anymore. But it's kind of, I've always, like I said, I think it's like a stepping thing. So you start with a loose cut, which is a much more generic kind of vanilla aromatic, but it's still a good quality aromatic. Then you step up to the vanilla flake, which is more tobacco-y, but still got the same kind of aroma as the vanilla loose cut, but it's just perhaps a little bit more, let's call it mature, if that's the right word. And then you get the roll cake, which is coins, and that's quite a bit brighter. Even the aroma is fantastic. Hey Troy. Boswell Aromatic comment on Facebook. Yes, they got me banned from Navy Pipe Smokers page for 28 days. It was your fault for ordering too much aromatic at one time and having other bags get ghosted. I don't know what that means. I already told him it was a dumbass comment. The thing is with Facebook groups is that the admins, they like basically dictators, and you really don't have much that you can do about it. They can just ban you just like that. There's no real comeback. There's no real sort of thing of appeal. If they don't want to, they just won't reintroduce you. And a lot of times you'll go off being just angry about it and you won't come back. But I had that with one of the very big groups a long time ago, and a few people helped me out by messaging the admins. I had actually done something wrong and I just completely didn't realize it. Somebody had given me some CBD, but the natural, the little sort of buds, I don't know what you call them, but it was not marijuana. What's this? I don't think it's marijuana. It was that kind of, looks like nettles kind of thing. But anyway, somebody had given it to me and said try it in a pipe. So I put a picture of that on one of the groups, and I was wrong. I actually just didn't think of it. I don't know if it was hemp or not, I don't know. But I was very naive about it at the time, and I hated it. I literally took 3 or 4 drags and I felt ill, and I kicked it out. Maybe a CBD flower, yeah. And I've never been interested in hash or marijuana or any of that kind of stuff. I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy being out of my normal self, you know. That's why I don't get drunk. I don't think I've ever been drunk in my life. I just don't enjoy it. And they banned me. It's because they're all paranoid about getting struck off by Facebook, because smoking is so sort of frowned upon by the establishment that none of them want to walk on the wrong side of the rules of Facebook itself. Yeah, that's also true, Jeremy. That makes a lot of sense. Because once a conversation becomes aggressive, even though the other guy was giving you a stupid comment, but they don't look at the whole conversation, they just see your comment. They're filtering out. The algorithms are filtering out that word dumbass, as Jeremy is saying. So it makes sense. You were aggressive in that comment, and therefore you got struck out. But anyway, I was very lucky with that Facebook group, and a few people sort of came to my support, and they get in touch with the admin, and I was very lucky, and they reinstated me, and I've been on there since, and I've just been very careful about what I post, and I stick to the rules. Jeremy. Hey Brother Man, how you doing? I started late myself, to be honest. I was on late. I was about 15 minutes late tonight. So I'd only just got home, not much before that. Had something to eat and then came on. Phil Rivera's in America. Sacramento. That's good to hear, Poem. Thank you. I don't get to do them very much these days. I used to sort of drive every morning and do a video, but these days I don't really get the opportunity very much. And I'll be honest with you, I don't find much to talk about. I hardly listen to the radio these days. There's nothing good on. And California used to be in America. So I don't like to waffle. I also don't, once you start talking about politics, although I'll maybe throw in a comment here or there, but once you really get into political discussion, in this day and age, you're on a hiding to nothing. And I just don't really find that much to talk about. So, like I say, I don't want to just waffle, so I just don't do it these days. Occasionally, I find myself on a bit of a drive and maybe I wonder if this is short filler. I'm getting a few bits of tobacco in my mouth. The best way to buff up a stem. Have you got a buffing? Have you got a buffing machine? You got a buffing wheel? If you haven't, there are other ways to do it. Cheers, Poe. I'll try and do some more then. If you know if there's a following for it, I'll try and do more. If you haven't got one, so what I would say is, first of all, go online, and there's lots of ways of doing it without a buffing wheel. So depending on how patient you are and how much time you're prepared to put into it. Brutally enough, how you doing? But you get a toothbrush, toothpaste, and scrub away, and you might find that will take off quite a bit of that. But basically, what you have, what's going on is that the sulfur in the stem is coming to the surface, and it's basically coming out, and you need to just get that off, rub it off. But the problem is that once a stem is really starting to go green, you know, you might clean the surface, you could come back to it in a few days and it's oxidized again. And there can come a point where you just literally need to replace the stem. But you can, some people soak it in and they leave it overnight in, I don't know if it's bleach or something, but you have to look online, I'm not sure which one it is, and that will really soak into it and remove a lot of the stuff. If you've got a buffing wheel, certainly that will make it easier. But another surefire way of doing it is sanding it. You get some sandpaper, sand all the surfaces, and just go to steadily higher and higher and higher. First sand it until it's clean, and then you start going up with higher grits all the way up to start using maybe the micro mesh ones, which you can go up to thousands of grit, and that will take you all the way up to a shiny finish. Hey Felix. Well, Ian Walker of Northern Briars, his workshop is on a barge, and he's been doing it for years. Salt water, right. The thing is, Bull Moose, is that I'm not informed enough, and I don't like talking about things I'm not informed about. I don't listen to the radio very much. I don't really follow the politics very much. I'm kind of fed up with it all, and as I say, I don't like waffling, and I don't like bluffing my way through a conversation. If I know what I'm talking about is one thing, but just to speak and sort of just say cliches and things like that, which, you know, you'll know very quickly that I'm just bluffing my way through a conversation. So just for the sake of it, I'm not into that. So, you know, also things nowadays, you know, things which I could talk about, but it's not politically correct to talk about them, or at least my views on them might not be politically correct. So, not that I'm scared about speaking my voice, but it's just, you're on a hiding to nothing, you know. It's just, it's not very beneficial, you know. So it's just not worth taking the risk, I think, sometimes. And, you know, and also when you try to put a point across, in order to get the point across in a way that it would be understood what you're saying is almost impossible. So if I wanted to say make a comment, say about something which was very much in the political sort of correct arena, and whilst I don't feel that I'm being politically incorrect, but I have a certain view about something, it would take me so long to first stake out my position as not being politically incorrect, and then giving my viewpoint about something. And then what will happen is that you might spend 10 minutes with a preamble about why you understand the universal position that's held out there about how you should be politically correct. Then I will put my point across in half a minute or a minute, and all they'll hear is that last half a minute. They'll just ignore the whole preamble and just hear the half a minute, and then they'll say I'm being politically incorrect. And I do find that people often online they don't perceive nuance in a conversation, and that's why when you go online and you have a debate about something, it very quickly descends into personal ad hominem attacks, not about the topic at hand, because people don't have the art of debate anymore. That's why you have so many titles which are clickbait, which say this guy destroys that guy and this one destroys that one, because that's all people are interested in is destruction, is destroying the other side. They're not debating. There's no fine art of debate anymore. They just want to be right. So you can say whatever you want, it makes no difference, and they'll just stake out their position as if they're right. It wouldn't matter what you said. There wouldn't even be. It's not even a debate. It's just two people stating their positions, each one holding they're correct, and there's never the twain shall meet. There's no debate anymore. There's no discussion. There's no give and take. It's literally this position and that position, and that's it. So it's not worth getting into it. I want to tell you that debate is one of my favorite hobbies, pastimes. I listen to them all the time, and I wish I could get into them. There's I'm on several Zoom groups, right? And one of them, which every so often it will become one of those kind of discussions, a real sort of philosophical discussion, whether it's about religion, whether it's about minorities, whether it's about equal opportunities or equality generally, politics, religion, whatever it might be. And they can sometimes become very, very deep discussions. But we always go away as friends. In other words, we all respect each other's positions, and oftentimes we'll actually learn something by having that discussion. But online, usually, just impossible to do that, almost. Hi, John. Yeah, so bull moose, the ones that I talk about, I'll talk about as because I feel that I'm informed enough to talk about them. The ones that you don't hear are the ones that I feel I'm not informed enough. Yeah, Phil and I have had those conversations for sure. You know. And the problem nowadays as well is that on social media you can't trust anything. So everything is so warped that you just can't believe anything nowadays. And it's going to be a million times worse when AI takes over. I mean, you've already got some AI, but it's going to be 100 times worse, 1,000 times worse, because you're not going to believe any pictures that you see online. You already can't. News items are. I don't know how the news providers are going to be able to filter out between what's true and what's not true, pictures that are true or not true. I just saw some AI pictures which were amazing on Friday of Trump and Biden, I don't know, sitting fishing somewhere together, or and they looked like absolutely genuine pictures. And it's just funny, that's comical, but those kind of ideas where take the Middle East war, pictures that are coming out of the Middle East which are so obviously faked by AI, and those are just the ones which are obvious, but the ones which are not obvious are getting through and having an impact, and a lot of it is rubbish. Exactly, Murphy. Oh, that's awesome, Doug. Thank you. There's nothing like getting feedback about a pipe that's gone to its home and is enjoying its life. Like I said, I got an email from Bartek earlier. I think it was on Friday, and he sent me a picture of the pipe that I'd made him enjoying it, and it's the best feeling. UK Prepperman, I totally agree. I think we're without a ship, full stop, never mind Woodburn. Yeah, they have Harleys here in the UK, sure. This is a Cuban La Flor de Cano. It's actually quite tasty. Might get some more, maybe put them down for a bit. I think this will... The Flor de Canos, generally, the ones that I've had in the past have been quite mild. This is also quite mild. The thing is that the more age it has, the more mild it's going to get, so... He also said it was one of the best smoked, but now that's what I want to hear. That's awesome. Well, send in my details. Maybe he'll buy a regular pipe from me, and he'll be able to enjoy his pipes like never before. He said with great humility. Kids at Pipe Club. What else have we got in the offing after that pipe? Oh, I've got a customer who wants me to make a Stanwell pipe of the year. I've actually had one of those before, but I don't have it anymore, but he sent me a picture. I forget which year it is, but he wants me to make one like that, so that'll be interesting. So, a couple more commissions still in the book that I need to get to. A Baccarat cigar, a sugar tip. Where are you, Perm? Where are you based? Are you here in the UK? Outside of Boston. Thursday, that would be 11 p.m. I could never work out your time. Thursday, 11 p.m. I'll try to remember that. I'll put it in my diary anyway. Is it a different link every time, John? So your next one is on Thursday the 1st of February. Yeah. 2001 Stanley. I don't know why I forget that soup almost. Okay, cool. I forget the names always, I don't know why. Cool. Anyway, I'm looking forward to doing it. Anyway, coming back to the sugar tip cigars, I'm not a big fan of sugar tip cigars. I have the, where's that box? So Mark Welsh Piper sent me these. These are the Raffinato. So these are sugar tipped coffee vanilla. I don't know exactly what, but I don't like them. They're sugar tipped. They're much too heavy. It's too artificial when you compare it to the smaller ones. Sorry, the non-tipped ones. These ones, the Rossos, which I've been making a fuss about. These have also got that sweet coffee flavour, but they're not sugar dipped. They're not dipped. The tips are not dipped. I find them to be a whole lot better. But earlier on, I was smoking these Royal Dutches. They're really good quick smoke. I don't know if you can get them in the States. Tiny little cigars. They're even narrower than the average cigarette. It's got a filter, double filter on this one, and it's a 4 or 5 minute smoke, but they're really good. And then you've got the ones which are slightly bigger, and I had one of those before. So that's roughly the size of a cigarette, also filtered. So I guess people buy these and inhale them. I don't inhale them, but. And I've also been enjoying these, which is the half Corona Churchill late hour. It's the Petit Coronas, not half Coronas, Petit Coronas. They're very nice. Yeah, I heard about that, Jeremy. Maybe it was from you. Maybe I think you left a comment on one of my videos. No, not all Drew Estates are sugar tipped, that's for sure. None of the Undercrown series are sugar tipped, that's for sure. That rectangular block in front of you. This you're talking about? This is sort of a translucent or pearlescent kind of stem material, but it's also got micarta, which is a multi-layered sort of material, canvasy type material, different colours, and that's been dropped into this rod, and it basically can give you quite random patterns, but I try to position them so they come out really nice. So on this one, so you've got that red material down there, and then on this one there was quite a big piece, and I just positioned it to have that bit there centered, so it just all meets up in the middle there, which looks really cool. Hey Sid, how you doing? John Cotton double press Kentucky in a squashed tomato meerschaum. Terry Davey, are you talking about the undercrown sun-grown? The sun-grown, definitely my favourite out of the line. Used to be the shade, used to be my favourite, and then the Maduro is okay, but then the sun-grown came out, and I enjoyed the sun-grown the most. Roman pipe smoker, his accent is just the best. I love his accent. He's also got this really deep guttural kind of nuance to his voice, which comes out, and it's a bit nasal, a bit guttural. It just works, and it's the way he sort of extends some of the syllables that he speaks. He speaks about things like that, and he just comes out very, very Germanic, but not so much Germanic. It's a little bit of a drawl. And it just looks good. That sounds good, I mean. I like Bremen, he's good. Or Mr. Meerschaum, you could call him. That's all he smokes now. I've got a feeling this is either short or medium filler. Yeah, he is very good at that, Jeremy. Over the last year or two, he started to put in this transition of this sort of screen going fuzzy. That does my head in a bit, but other than that, I'm not into all of these fills and transitions, and it's production. Yeah, it gives it production value, but they kind of get on my nerves after a while. And I remember when I first started doing videos, right in the beginning, I used to do transitions, and it would take me forever to put together a video. Nowadays, I just use iMovie, and I literally drag in, I click on 5 or 6 clips, and that's it. It processes, no transitions, no anything. But in the beginning, I used to do transitions, and it would take me a couple of hours of work to get a simple video out there, maybe a 15-minute or a half-an-hour video. This thing, iMovie, is phenomenal. I mean, I can do a half-an-hour video, and it will process it in a few minutes, which is fantastic. But after a while, for me, I mean, when you watch films, for instance, you watch the news, or you watch movies, there's no transitions, and that's the best way. And so therefore I stopped doing transitions, and literally just, there's a little fade, maybe a slight fade, just to show that it's going from one clip to another. Otherwise they make no sense, because there's no continuity. So there needs to be just an ability to see that they're separate clips, but other than that, I respect the people who put in the time to put in production value, but I don't. What's that, Jeremy? Howdy, Marcus. Marcus Aurelius. He's busy typing a long tirade. Come on, Jeremy, let's have it. How an exotic plant seduced civilization. Yeah. Is that it, Jeremy? Seriously? I thought we were going to get some earth-shattering rant. It's an OCD thing, fair enough. Well, just to make you happy, housekeeping. Florida Cano. Habana. I think it's more of a membership thing, this housekeeping thing. I think it's more people trying to just be doing the same thing as everybody else. It's kind of say, I belong, I'm part of the YTPC. And because everybody else does it, I'm doing it as well because it's the thing we do. Yeah, it is burning very nicely. Quite a good burn line. It's young, but it's got I think it's got very good potential. I think maybe not too many years, but a few years will really make it quite a bit nice. It'll just remove some of that youth, bit of ammonia that there is there. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jeremy. But I think actually people feel good when they say that housekeeping, because like I say, it's kind of a common denominator amongst YTPC presenters. So it's like it's like a rite of passage almost. Good one, Jeremy. In other words, none of your beeswax. In the nicest, politest possible way. Alright, so anyway, Phil, I'm probably going to hit you up at some point about drilling church wardens. I don't know if you were on earlier, but I had a bit of a disaster with a pipe I'm working on at the moment. I'm actually on my third stem now for that. But because I was using a new, longer drill bit, and I didn't take into account for the fact of how much flex there would be in the drill bit. And basically it drilled, the end of it went much higher than it should have done. So when I was shaping it, I went right through it. Yeah, so I need to really, I don't do full length church wardens very much, and when I do, I'll usually use preformed ones simply because of this problem. But this one is not a full length church warden, so I thought maybe it'd be okay, but it wasn't. As you can see, I had a nightmare with it. And then the second one, I'd already virtually finished the stem and pretty much done. All I had to do was shape the button, but the shape of the stem, all of that was done. And I went back in to just smooth out the drill. I went in again with the drill bit by hand, and the thing shattered, exploded. So it must have caught it or something inside and ripped it apart. So this time I just drilled it on the lathe whilst it was still in the raw state, so that there was plenty of meat on it. And it's shorter as well, so no problems. Thank you, Marcus. No, you definitely don't want to warm up a stem before drilling it. Definitely not, because that's just gonna twist and move, and you wouldn't know where you are with that. Yeah, so I did that. I mean, I do that as a rule anyway, but on this one, it was a new drill bit which I was using for the first time. There's a tapered drill bit, and I use tapered drill bits very successfully on my regular stems. But I bought a longer one in order to do longer stems, and I should have done that. What you said, I used to do that in the past. Start off with shorter drill bits so they're solid, and then slowly increase. I should have done that, and I didn't. So I guess that would be the answer. Yeah, so the ebonite one is the one that I shattered, but I think that's something to do with how I went in there. I'd already drilled it, it came off the lathe, shaped it, and it was already ready to finish. And I just went in with a slightly wider bit to just open up the drawer a little bit, because I had done it with a narrower one, and it just shattered, literally. I'm just looking at it. It's possible that I went too close to the draft on this one as well. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's usually what I do. Not halfway, but I usually drill with a tapered drill bit till about there, and I go in from that end and meet it. And that's usually, when it meets where it should meet, then I know that the drill's true. With this one, it took a long time till it met it, so I knew I was off, but I just didn't know how much I was off. Yeah, I used to do that. I used to use the spray to lubricate it as I did it, but I never found it really did much, so I've stopped using it, but maybe with church wardens it is worth doing that. Is there such a thing as a drill bit which is longer but more sturdy? Is there such a thing? Or by definition just doesn't work with anything long? I mean, I've got some very long drill bits which I bought ages ago when I first started making pipes, but there's, you know, a lot of flex in there. So I usually, as long as the customer's okay with a black ebonite or a black acrylic, so I either use a pre-formed one like that, and I'll just make a slot and do a V-slot there as well. But the problem is getting them on the lathe to drill them. That's the problem. That's the challenge. So these ones are not too bad because they're quite narrow, and it goes right through the chuck and right through the headstock. So as long as I can grip this bit here, I'm okay. This one I have a problem with because this bit is too wide, so I have to shave off the edges in order for it to get through. But I can usually find a way around it. I don't know, Troy. I don't know. Less flex. That's an interesting idea, Poe. Something that can be dissolvable. But there's no need for it to be dissolvable. Just don't have anything in the middle. Let it be pre-drilled. I mean, that's essentially what it would be. The thing is that you can't do that because, again, there's lots of pipes makers who smoke cigars. The thing is that when you're buying a rod, if you're buying a pre-made stem, then yeah, they are drilled and you buy them fully drilled. But if you're buying a rod stock, so this is an ebonite Cumberland. So if you're buying that, if this was pre-drilled all the way, then when you want to do your cutting off, if you're not using the whole thing, if you're using the whole thing, it's one thing, but if you're using bits of it, you want it to be tapered at one end so that you can make it the button. So that wouldn't work. You can't have something which is drilled all the way through. If you do, you're going to have a very fat button. So that doesn't really work. Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, if you any factory pipe that you buy is going to have a pre-molded stem, and even places like Castello, for instance, I wouldn't be surprised if some of their stems are pre-molded. Stanwell's certainly, and they're fantastic. You know, the average pre-molded stem is of very high quality. This is a pre-molded stem. I've already drilled it, but they're very, very high quality and they're really easy to make a V-slot. I totally reshaped the button and I sort of filed it down so it's thinner. There's lots you can do to them, and I mean, it starts off much higher. I've already taken off half of that saddle, but they're very high quality. I think they're really hard to beat. Look at that drill, how consistent it is. You know, the insides are smooth. I think if you can make a good pipe and use a pre-molded stem in a way that it doesn't look pre-molded, hard to beat, really hard to beat. Well, it used to be, my favourite cigar certainly used to be A. Chapman Connoisseur number 1, which was slightly smaller than a Robusto, a 47 or a 48 ring gauge. But the flavour on that was just fantastic. But I haven't had them for a long, long time. I was fortunate enough to have several 25 cabs, but not only can I not afford them now, but I can't buy them. I used to buy them from an overseas, an international sort of seller of cigars, Cuban cigars, and used to buy them at a reasonable price. But now they get stopped every single time. I just can't afford to do that anymore. So I haven't bought from that company for a long time now, for years already. It must be 2 or 3 years now since I bought from them. Which is a shame. I mean, I still get the emails all the time, but it's just no point. I'll order a box of cigars maybe for $200 and I'll pay $100 in tax, you know, or even more. Yeah, you do. If you're re-drilling the acrylics, then yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what was happening, I think, Phil. When you're drilling softer stuff like Eldritch, for instance, what you find is that softer stuff, it's almost like putty when you're drilling it, and it kind of goes back. It's like memory, and it kind of disintegrates when you drill it, and it just feeds along the spiral of the drill bit, and it comes out quite easily. It doesn't get stuck inside. But acrylic, it heats up, and as you say, it welds, and it sticks to the inside of the draft hole, and then you end up with a very large hole, because once you clear out, you're fighting against it the whole time, and it's expanding and expanding and expanding, or wobbling, as you say. All right, Jeremy, have a good night. Don't go to sleep on a full stomach, or sit upright. You don't want to be bringing that stuff up if you're very full. Yeah, 3D printing will work very well on stems. And I suppose theoretically, if you have a 3D printer and plenty of time, you should be able to make some really cool stems very precisely as well. Yeah. Yeah, 5 or 6 inches is, I mean, the one that I use very successfully. So this is the one that I always use, and this is, it's 5.5 inches, but the actual amount of drills, some of it's got to go into the chuck, So I would say I get about 4.5, maybe 4.75 inches, maybe 5, because I'm drilling a bit from the other side. So I would say about 4.5 inches I get out of that, and that's when I do a longer stem. So I bought one which is a bit longer. So give me another inch. You can see the difference there. Another inch, yeah. And it's also a bit wider as well. But that's the one which gave me a lot of grief on that. I am referring to Cuban ones. You're quite right, Doug. Well, Robert, I agree with you that pipes can be art. That's a very emotive discussion which we've had. But this part of it is about technical knowledge and skill, which you develop over time. And it's knowledge as well, which you get from people like Phil. It helps you because they've done it, saves you time with your trial and error. But this part of it is more, as I say, it's technical ability, technical knowledge. But it's certainly an art form. I agree with you on that. Right, gentlemen, it is 10 to 2 in the morning. I'm going to start saying my goodbyes, and as always, if anybody has got anything else they want to talk about, you can start that topic now while I get ready to say my goodbyes, and if there is something to talk about, we'll continue. So, Robert, Phil, Patrick, Lurker Troy, Glenn, Doug, Patrick, Jeremy, Owen, Andrew, Smoking Syed if you're still there, Mark if you're still there, Gary, Piper said, Pepperman, Smurry Bob, and everybody else. You'd like to know what kind of trees line the streets that I drive? Yeah, me too. Good night, Bartek. Thank you, you too. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I look forward to catching you on the very next one. Good night, Thanasis.